Hey guys, my name is D-Free and welcome back to another video here on the channel. This is actually going to be like my first time doing a review of the Boruto anime, and if you guys like this, we'll continue doing this weekly. I have been watching Boruto, pretty much every week. I also have been watching Naruto since it originally aired early 2000s, Shippuden, when it was in all Japanese, early 2006-ish in that area. So I'm very familiar with the series. Now, we're going to go ahead and review episode 25. Hope you guys enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel if you happen to be new for more content. Of course, we're going to keep these coming weekly if you guys like this. When we hit a like goal of 400 likes, we'll say that. Anyways, so this episode wasn't the most eventful. It seems like it's setting up a filler arc after we basically ended the Naruto Gaiden stuff. Now, if you're not familiar with Naruto Gaiden, it was basically a manga. I actually have full reviews of all that stuff too. It was all the Shin stuff and all that stuff we just ended and got out of. So I don't know if they'll start reenacting the movie yet or when they're going to do that next, or what they're going to do next, excuse me. But it does seem like we are getting into some filler. So the episode is mainly based on the premise of the Academy students going on a field trip to the village hidden in the mist, formerly known as Blood Mist Village. And it's really funny too because I really liked how Sarada's like, oh, well, I'm going to nominate Boruto to be the field trip leader, and he was all tied up and stuff from the prank that he tried to pull earlier to see if Iruka Sensei wears a wig, which I guess is feasible considering how old he'd have to be at this point. The guy's got to be in his 50s at this point now or something like that. So I guess it would be feasible, but like he tried to do Mitsuki's jutsu and he was unable to do it, and it's cool. But they're setting up chakra natures too, which is really funny because I'm rewatching Shippuden, and it's at the point where Naruto's actually learning about chakra natures to develop the wind style Rasen Shuriken and stuff like that. So it's really cool because like, oh, well, Boruto apparently has wind style too, so that's really cool. I mean, you know a little bit about that if you watch the movie once again, but I don't like to, focus on that too much because we're talking about the anime, and of course they're going to weave that into the continuity, but we just simply haven't gotten there in the anime yet. So anyways, that's really funny because she was like, oh, we're gonna, he's all tight. And then Shikadai's like, yeah, totally, everybody, the whole class is like, yep, we're all for it. We're all for it. And then she's like, oh, he has something to say. So she cuts him down. He's like, oh, you guys really just did that. You're gonna do that? You're gonna do that so irresponsibly, I think he said. That's like, bro, you're the last person to be talking about responsibility, right? So aside from that, they do go out on their field trip, and while on the trip, one of the things that I thought was pretty cool was, I don't know if she was going to say something different, but when Chocho asked why Sarada went ahead and recommended Boruto for the position, she gets cut off because Boruto shows up, but she was like, oh, I recommended him because, I don't know if she was going to say something like inspiring, like, oh, because I know he has potential or things like that, because in the last couple of episodes or so, mainly last episode, she did kind of inner monologue, things like that. So where her head is at with Boruto's character. She's just honestly disappointed that he's such a doofus and like he has all the potential there. He's very similar to Naruto in that regard, like early Naruto when he was in the academy and stuff, just a complete idiot. But I think the distinct difference between Boruto now and Naruto then is that Naruto didn't have the exact same interaction with the students there and stuff like that because of his background and his upbringing. But aside from that, Boruto's like a bona fide prodigy, so I feel like Naruto had to work a lot harder for what he got, right? And Boruto seems to be like innately really good at a lot of things. He uses a lot of the Hyuga fighting style and stuff, so he just innately has a really good lineage anyway, right? So I think that it's a little bit easier for him to get into that. And Sarada's like, well, man, you have so much potential. Why don't you capitalize on it, right? So she feels kind of like, bro, work harder, right? So I don't know if she was going to say something there, but of course Boruto shows up and they get into a little bit and she's like, well, you're the only one that can't see how special Lord Seventh is. And of course, Naruto was like the strongest ninja of his generation. So of course he's going to be, really powerful up there, right? And well, Boruto also comes back with a remark like, hey, well, I'm also the only one that can see how much of a loser he is because we know Boruto's stuck up, but eventually he'll grow out of it. That's just it's part of being a kid, right? If your parents are always gone, you kind of start to resent them. I did that personally myself, so I get it. I can't really hate on him too much about that. And then we get a little bit of foreshadowing because he's like, hey, I heard that and people have said that your dad was actually really powerful. And I was like, hey, you're going to get foreshadowing to the Boruto apprenticeship. And it's really cool, man, because like I said, I think this is all filler right now. We get into a little bit of, foreshadowing there. And then she's like, oh, let's not talk about that. Because, of course, she's still following that subplot of wanting to become the Hokage one day. We'll see if it actually happens. But Anyways, they make their way to the village finally, and it's nothing like they thought it would be. Nothing like I thought it would be, to be honest. Knowing what has come from there, for example, like Kisame and stuff. And funnily enough, we'll bring up Kisame in a little bit as well. But they get there, it seems all modern, they have all this cool stuff, and I'm like, hey, this is actually pretty nice, man. It's really cool to explore other villages, right? I just wonder if we're going to see Chojuro, because I really like Chojuro, man. We didn't get a whole lot of him in the war arc, but I did like what I saw from him. So hopefully we get to see that. Anyways, so they're there, and they're exploring, they're touring, and stuff like that. And then Iwabe walks off on his own. Boruto and Denki, I believe his name is. I always forget that guy's name. He's so irrelevant. They walk off and they follow Iwabe, and they get into a fight. This is where we meet basically our antagonists, Hasaku and Shizuma. So Shizuma, I think, actually has a Hoshigaki last name, so he would be innately probably related to Kisame. So something like that to probably keep an eye on. He also has some of the shark-ish characteristics, like the gritty shark teeth thingies, you know. So he looks a little bit like him, and they're from the same village. So of course they have to have some sort of relation, maybe like his uncle, maybe his like fifth cousin or something. I don't know. And of course, the interesting part about this is that they already knew when they got into the confrontation, and all that. They already knew these guys from the Leaf Village. They already knew who Boruto was. They already knew all this stuff. So it's like, have they been spying on them and what's going on? Oh, by the way, I kind of skipped over Kagura. It was really cool to see him and a little bit more of him, because he looks like the other Mizukage. The kid one, man. Maybe it wasn't even a kid. I don't remember. But I think his name was Yaguda. It was like the fourth Mizukage or something like that. He looks like him a lot, to be honest. Like, there's a really striking resemblance. I kind of thought it was him for a sec, but I was like, nah, he got Edo Tensei, so bro, he's not here anymore. So, you know, it was different, man. And they're starting to do that thing which Konohamaru talked about in the last episode. They've been doing it a little bit more, from my recollection, where they're sort of addressing Boruto as, you know, the son of Naruto, the son of the 7th Hokage. And, you know, Konohamaru dealt with that, oh, honorable grandson. And it's just like, come on, bro. He's his own character, you know? His own person. You know, so hopefully this turned out to be interesting. Because, like I said, it does seem like those guys are going to be the antagonists. There are a few spoilers that I came across that I didn't want to really talk about because, of course, spoilers. But if you guys did enjoy the review, make sure you hit that like button. Like I said, like goal of 400 likes. I don't know how I'm going to handle these, because I want to put up like slideshows, but I don't know how what company is it that develops Naruto? I don't know how they are about that type of thing as far as YouTube goes, because I'm not trying to get strikes or anything like that, so I don't know what I'm doing for this one yet at the moment. But if you guys did enjoy it, you have any feedback, let me know in the comments. Overall, I thought it was just an average episode. It wasn't a great episode, wasn't a bad episode. There was nothing I really didn't like, nothing I particularly really did like, aside from the things that I pointed out that I said, hey, I like this, I like the side of that moment, I like little things like that. I'm very much so an optimistic when it comes to stuff like this, because after seeing some of the ways that, like, for example, Dragon Ball Super, I've been reviewing that since episode 1 came out. After seeing some of the ways that show can flop and other anime, because I watch a lot of anime, you know, they can kind of do different things. I've kind of gotten to this point where I'm a little bit more empathetic to the animes, and I try not to be as judgmental. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe for more content. We'll be back next week, this time next week, so make sure that you tune in for the next review of episode 26. Have an awesome day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.